is up, my nerds? It's been a long time. I know there's too many gaps between each episode, but I welcome you back to the Nerd Alert Podcast, Season 3, Episode 3. I'm your host, Jay to the Chico, and I thank you for tuning in and sticking with me for the ride. Please keep in mind, there will be plenty of spoilers in today's discussion, but what we're talking about today will be Gen V, which wrapped up, Loki, Season 2 just wrapped up, and the news, with a couple of tidbits there. Let's get it started. What's up, peeps? Alright, so Gen V wrapped up last week, which is a spinoff of The Boys, and oh my god, such a great show. Quick recap on what it is. Essentially, it's about a group of students that go to Godolkin University, which sounds a lot like Hadouken. To essentially, it's like the X-Men Xavier Institute, right? They're going there to enhance and get some stability on their powers, but with a twist, there's also a popularity scale. So what you're doing is trying to be the best so that you can then graduate and move over to the 7. So we follow a handful of students throughout this whole story. Our main protagonist has the ability to control blood, which is really, really cool. It's been a very interesting ride, let me tell you. So it all starts with like her going into the school to get under. Sorry, let me take a step back. So essentially, she has these blood powers and accidentally kills her family, her parents. So she's on a mission to get control of those, become a better person, so that she can get access to see her sister, who is taken away, is in the system. We don't really see her at all through the show, but we're following her, and then she befriends a couple of classmates, and then a conspiracy starts happening. What's really going behind Godolkin University? It seems like at the end of the day, it's actually existing there so that they can experiment on the students themselves, not vice versa. It's not there for the students' benefits, it's for their benefits. What they're trying to find is a way to stop the superhumans. Superhumans are overpowered, and then you have weapons to stop them. So they're experimenting on a handful of them. Golden Boy is one of the main ones, his brother as well. And it's just a big mystery as far as how deep it goes. We've got action, great storytelling. Of course, with it being the world of boys, there's some off-the-wall moments, which really should go without saying. But yeah, it was a phenomenal ride. I feel like the storytelling was awesome. I feel like the pace of the story was great. The twists and turns were on point. First 3 episodes had me more captivated, honestly, than the first Boys episodes did. I think I've said that before. The cast was great. Their chemistry was phenomenal. Action on par. They did set up, of course. Actually, one of the best things of the show is what I was anticipating is Tech Knight, which is he's kind of like a cross between Batman and Iron Man in the comics, but with a fucked up twist. He has this compulsive behavior to just fuck any hole that comes ahead of him and presented to him. Doesn't matter what it is. If he sees a hole, he's got to fuck it. It's very entertaining in the comics, in particular because he's inside of his suit the whole time that this happens. In the show, they've twisted around where he's more of a true crime channel host, and we don't get to see the suit, which sucks, but that storyline's still there, and it's still very entertaining to see him try to like compose himself with any and every hole. So, like I said, great show. Our cliffhangers did give us the expected cameos from our boys crew. So Homelander pops in. There's a big... Our climax ends up being all of the students that were being experimented on escape the woods. There's a revolution going on. and they storm the school and start killing every human that's at the school. Our classmates that we've been following the whole time are essentially our X-Men and are fighting off the Brotherhood. Let's just say that. That's an obvious comparison. They're fighting them off. There's a big battle, and it's pretty epic. It's pretty crazy. Homelander ends up showing up, but Homelander being who he is, he ends up siding with, of course, our revolutionaries who are spun into being misunderstood and being the heroes of the situation, and our good guys are actually, of course, go figure, are renegades, and they're the ones that are criminalized and put under what looks like they're like in some kind of hidden prison. We also get a teaser at the very end with Butcher shows up there. So gives us some segue as far as the next Boys season. So Butcher is aware of what's going on. So, that's going to lead to some issues. So big issues big items coming for the next season on the Boys. Overall, we're getting season 2 of Gen V, which is great because, again, there were some excellent cliffhangers, and I'm sure it bleeds into the Boys, and then from there, we'll get our second season of Gen V. I'm excited about it. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Appreciate you. What's up, my nerds? All right, so Loki season 2. Oh my God. Let's talk about the complete turnaround that the MCU has done with just with this show. This show alone. If we could get every other show and movie on par with this, we would be heading into a great place. Loki 2 surpassed every expectation I had, and I think anybody else had, for possibly the best characterization arc of anyone in the MCU. Loki literally shits on Thor's arc, like, without a doubt. Like, his story from being this jackass kid god throwing a fit and causing war on our world, and just going back and forth between hero and villain, but mostly villain, to dude, like, wow. So season 2 picks up after season 1, directly after he's had his confrontation with He Who Remains. He's trying to find a way to keep the multiverse from collapsing. So he has killed He Who Remains, and it started collapsing from that point forward. So all season 2 is essentially Loki doing his best to keep things together and keep things from falling apart. Along the way, Miss Minutes is losing her shit and fucking causing all kinds of chaos. We were introduced to Victor Timely, which is a King variant. Mobius is along for the ride. We also get glimpses of the lives that they could have had. Again, our crew are all variants. They're not the OGs. So they all have little glimpses of who they were before in their heads, that they, especially Mobius, he's always talking about the jet ski. And that's been a clue. So we get to see their lives had they not been variants at some point. But Loki really is on a road for redemption. He doesn't want to see the universe fall. He doesn't want to see his friends die. He's really become attached to this crew. We were introduced to Ouroboros, Quan Yi, and I'm pretty sure I just pictured that because I'm trying to think out off the top of my head. Fucking kills it throughout the whole show. Everyone kills it. Jonathan Majors is awesome as Victor Timely. Owen Wilson, without a doubt. And of course, Tom Hiddleston. But damn, we get to our second to last episode, and it appears that all the work they've been doing falls apart. Victor Timely's died, and the universe has collapsed. Loki's still being pulled into his time slips until he gets control of these time slips. So through the whole season finale, he gets control. He's jumping around. He's looking at what's gone wrong. It's a Groundhog Days, infinite Groundhog Days, infinite thousands of tries he's made at attempts at trying to fix an issue, to the point where he goes back and learns the quantum mechanics of the machine itself. Comes down to a point where he recognizes that it's not the machine, but we find an origin point of he who remains. It's he who remains death that triggers everything. The time loop is just breaking apart. It's happening in real time. And it's crazy. There's discussion between Loki and he who remains. He's literally knows what's happening even to that point. As an audience member, you're thinking, oh, Loki's finally got that hand. He's got the time slip. He's got control of it. But he who remains has, and said it from the beginning, you kill me, I will be reincarnated, and it's just a cycle. Victor Timely is supposed to be his replacement. He's supposed to die. Only other option is to kill Sylvie in Loki's eyes. And again, Loki loves himself, aka loves Sylvie. So he does his best to try to keep her from killing He Who Remains, and just cannot do it. And he can't find himself to kill her. So therein lies our problem, right? And Loki has an epiphany. He was destined for a glorious purpose. He doesn't want to see his friends lose. He doesn't want to lose Sylvie. There's only one option. He sacrifices himself. He goes through the bridge and basically takes on the time loop itself. Absorbs everything. He's achieved his godness. He goes without a suit. The time storm tears away at his TVA uniform, revealing Loki's final form. It's his uniform. He's got the horns come back out. It's a fucking badass scene. Like, it looks fucking great. But he goes out there and basically uses his powers to destroy the loom and let the multiverse just branch out, right? But when he does that, all the branches die. Now, Loki's now has the power of controlling time, as we've seen, grabs a hold of the time streams, gathers them all together, and starts taking them to the focal point, the fault. He is now going to become the anchor for the multiverse. He is the new He Who Remains. That whole castle has gone to shit. It's destroyed. There's only a freaking chair that's left. He takes his throne. He has finally achieved godhood. He is officially the god of stories, and has his throne. It's a magnificent moment. Like, if you didn't tear up through that, like, yeah, what's wrong with you? He knew what he was meant for. He knew he was meant for a glorious purpose, and has done so. The ultimate sacrifice. His character has developed and grown so much in just 2 seasons. 2 seasons, that's crazy. And learned what it is to love others, love and appreciate human beings. So when he creates that, gotta look up the name because I always kill it. But our God of Stories becomes the World Tree. So the multiverse now appears as the World Tree, which is fucking cool. And he is at the center of it. He's holding it all together. He is the nexus of all reality. Loki is the god of fucking gods. Thor can't shit on him any day. I loved it. I feel of all the characters, like I said, his was the best. Next, maybe I'd say WandaVision, but it was great. I was moved by every episode. I loved the pacing of every episode. The cast was phenomenal. There's one tidbit also that I was kind of curious about. There's a theory that Mobius might be a variant of Odin, which would be interesting, a human. Because when we flash back, he has 2 kids. They utilize red, blue, and green, symbolizing Thor and Loki. You got the bad kid and the good kid. Still hasn't been confirmed, but it's a pretty cool theory. Yeah, so there will be no season 3, as far as we know. Loki has closed his loop. He has become everything he wanted to become the right way, without his mischief, without stabbing anybody else in the back anymore. yeah, it was a fucking phenomenal season and great season finale. The good news is we'll see Mobius again in Deadpool 3 as the story of the TVA continues, and probably on to the rest of the series. But kudos to Marvel on this show. It was fucking great. Take notes. Take that shit to other things. Let me know what you thought in the comments. As always, appreciate you. What up, nerds? All right, so now it's time for the news. All right, SAG-AFTRA's strike is done. Thank God, because now we've got shit going in motion. We've got some movies being made. Everybody's announcing projects they've been working on they couldn't talk about left and right. One thing we've been anticipating on the nerd side is where are our movies at? Aquaman's still in flux. It's still scheduled to come out in November. As far as the MCU is concerned, originally we were thinking that Captain America was going to get pushed up and take over Deadpool's spot. Looks like that's not happening. Captain America 4 has still been pushed back, and we officially have word that Deadpool 3, the Wolverine and Deadpool road trip, is coming out July of next year, and it will be the only MCU project at this point that's coming out next year. What pressure, right? What fucking pressure? I don't know. It's carrying the whole thing. And we got to look at Dogpool, who's a part of the movie as well, which is going to be interesting. We also got our heads up that Superman Legacy, James Gunn's version of Superman, is sticking on target as well. That will be coming out July 11th, 2025, the year after. So cool for that. That, again, hasn't started any kind of filming because of the strike. But it's good to know that it hasn't fallen off track. On the DC side, looks like they pulled a project I wasn't even aware of. There was apparently a Coyote versus Acme movie, which was kind of like a Space Jam type live action and animation with John Cena. They pulled a Batgirl on that and completely scrapped the thing to save on taxes. So we'll never see the light of day. I'm curious about that one. Really am. I'm like, why did I never hear about this? Why? It's boggling. Why do they just keep scrapping these fucking movies? Can we at least drop them on like torrents or something so we can watch them on bootleg? I mean, maybe. And then Invincible Season 2 started as well. I caught the first episode like many others. Holy shit. This show is fucking great. Like, for an animated show, it's way ahead of the curve. A lot of live action shows should take notes. It's phenomenal. Mark is picking up the pieces, literally, from the damage and fight between him and his father and all the shit that he did, trying to become the hero he was meant to be, not to live in the menacing shadow of his father. So he's now working for Cecil directly and going on side missions and missions and whatnot. But so far, so good. The first 2 episodes have been great. Action-packed as expected. Great storylines. He's graduated high school. Our supporting cast is awesome as well. Really stoked for this season. But aside from that, nothing much else to discuss. Trailers, of course, I've dropped a couple on the Instagram page as well as TikTok. So make sure to check those out and keep in the loop. And if you have any feedback for me, drop them in the comments. Send me an email. Let me know. I'd love to hear your opinion on how the show's progressing, any commentary regarding anything I've discussed. And don't forget, we got merch. The link's in the bio. It's pretty badass. Not gonna lie. I know I made it unbiased, but it's badass, all right? Get them while you can. I thank you again for staying tuned with us. And remember, the podcast feed can be listened to and watched on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and pretty much anywhere podcasts are available. Spread the word. Share. I appreciate you.